So, yeah, so shall we get started?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. So I did this presentation last year, and this is a brief outline of how to present for our postgraduates. See, we all have been taught in a way in our primary school and this thing just to by heart things and read, get marks, and score in our entrance exam. Even I was taught like that. But the main thing of any advanced degree is communication, communicating effectively, and more so in our field, in medical field, where communication is the key. And one of the effective tools of communication in our medical practice is via presentation. So when we present our data, when we present our findings, when we present our interesting cases, or whatever we present should be communicated in an effective way to the audience. Okay. Can you hear me? Is it okay? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, yes, sir, audible.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So the art of making a presentation is very important. So it is more of an art. See, it doesn't matter how much you know if you're not able to tell to your audience in an effective manner. So uh, let me go through this. So you don't want your audience to boo you. So how do we make a good presentation from going from this booing to clapping? That is what we are going to talk about. See, so there are some cardinal rules. I call this cardinal rules, like these are the basic rules, and you shouldn't violate them. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't violate them ever, but you generally try not to violate them in your short presentations. Like if you're presenting for a medal, or if you're presenting in any national conference or any international conference where you have 10 minutes or 12 minutes, you should not violate these rules in general. That is 10 slides at the maximum, 20 minutes at the maximum. You usually get 10 to 12, but I told 20 in because you in a longer, bigger presentations, you can go up to 20. And do not put any font less than 30. I'll talk about it in detail. So, major basic principle is that you include only one idea per slide. I have seen many postgraduates, many even practitioners, many see cramming like 5 or 6 ideas into one slide. No, one slide is for one idea only. Okay, it is the basic rule. Do not put two ideas and discuss about two things in one slide. One slide. In this, we are discussing the basics, so this slide has only basics. Okay, I'm not going into how do you write introduction or any of that sort in this slide. Okay, so second, do not spend more than 1 to 1.5 minutes inside. We all know this, but we subconsciously exceed that. Uh, when you are presenting medical topic, especially, it should be brief. One to two at the max is most per slide. And as I said, make use of the headings. Like you can write the headings on the top. Use only essential points. And I have seen in our country, especially with postgraduates and general younger audiences, they put a lot of data and they don't cite where it has come from. Data is useless unless you cite it from. Even your own data is useless if you don't cite it. So I can't tell that I have done 1,000 surgeries and this is my opinion. So listen to me. If I have done 1,000 surgeries and I have data, I should write the paper in which I have published that. So you can't just quote things, especially controversial things, and expect audience to trust you because you have told it. Everything should be given a credit and a reference when it is due. Okay. Use of graphics, everybody knows this. A picture is worth 1,000 words and a video is worth 1,000 pictures. I think you all know it. And do not avoid cognitive overload. That means putting too much information. We'll discuss about it. Again, continuing the basics, each minute you can have only one slide. And that's what I said. If you have 12 minutes, 1.5 minutes per slide. So you have to have 10 slides. Okay, again, you can vary plus or minus one or two, but you can't have like 50 slides for a 12-minute talk. This is second thing is the most important and the biggest take home point. No more than 6 lines per slide. Again, we have the habit, again, because we are used to writing theory exams in our MBBS and in postgraduate. We want to cram in more information in a short period. In an essay, we want to include more words. We want to give more information. We are used to writing long essays and short essays. We want to put as much material. That is not a good communication skill. The effective communication skill is when you put less, talk more, and communicate more. Okay, just because you're putting more doesn't mean you're communicating more. Again, no sentences, complete sentences. That means no 6 line. Today, you just have to communicate in a short form. You don't have to be correct in your grammar. Usually, nobody cares about your grammar. Spelling mistakes, of course, you have to correct them, but you don't worry about the grammar, past tense, present tense, or those things. Do not include complete sentences because nobody is going to read it. No wordy detailed data. I'll show you that. Again, I like this last statement. If you can't write a message in a sentence, you will not be able to say it in an hour. If you think that you need more and more slides to convey your information, that means you are wrong. If you can't convey it in short slide, you can't convey it in 100 more slides. Next, this is the design aspect. The design aspect is uh, somewhat important, but not that important. You can experiment with your designs, but in general, keep your design clean. Like this presentation, you don't want gaudy colors. You don't want unusual attraction to your background rather than your talk. That doesn't mean that you can't go crazy here and there, but in general, keep it bland. Let the audience focus on your content rather than your background. Use common fonts like Arial, Times Roman. You can highlight important words, like you can make them red, you can make them caps, you can make them bold. If you have if that slide has one take home big point, you can highlight it and this thing. Again, don't use bright colors like fluorescent. It may look good on your screen, but when you are presenting on a projector or when you're doing that, it'll look abnormal. Animation can be there. I like animations, but don't include too many animations that the audience have to take a vertin and come. They shouldn't get giddiness. Okay. And designing a presentation without an audience in mind is like writing a love letter and addressing it to whomsoever it may concern. So no, you can't do that. You have to speak to your audience. Okay, you should know who your target audience are and design a presentation according to them. That is the key. So now I'm talking to you postgraduates. I'm not talking to a senior audience or so. So this talk is designed to address basics, keeping in my audience in view. So even the same topic, if you're presenting to different audience, should have different slides. I can't carry the same talk if I'm presenting for about thyroid cancer. For example, I can't carry the same set of slides for teaching an MBBS student versus a postgraduate versus a junior consultants, or if I'm giving a talk to somebody who is well trained in that aspect. So same topic will have different slides because I'm speaking to the audience. Speaking to the audience is very important. Your slide should be designed to the audience and not to you. Okay, that is very important. Again, when you are going for a talk, you are expecting the juice. Okay, it is like me going to a juice shop. If the juice shop guy gives me oranges and asks me to squeeze it, I would be very upset. Same thing. Remember, your audience would be upset if you throw oranges in their hand and ask them to squeeze it themselves. So they are here for the juice. To extract juice is your duty, and how you do that effectively is your problem. Okay. So do not include verbose text like this. This was I was telling earlier. See, if you want to, for example, this is a slide about Dick Salpeck. I can put this graphic over here, this table over here, and this text. But who is going to read it in 1 to 1.5 minutes? Nobody. And if I know how to read it, if I know how to interpret it, if I know how to extract the information that I need from reading this text, I wouldn't be listening to your talk. I would be rather at home reading about it. I'm here so that you give me the juice, so that I don't have the trouble of reading it. You should take the trouble and summarize it. So how do you summarize it? From that previous slide, so you can summarize like this by putting graphs, explaining to them in visual detail what you want to tell in words. This is very important. This is the most important thing, to not put a verbose text. Okay. Next, communication skills. These, even if you have a good matter in your slide, but you are not able to put that in words into your verbal skills, then it is a waste. So most people I have seen, especially juniors, the last time also I told it, they come to the presentation, and if this is the slide they have, they present it like this. Communication skills. Never ever read your slides. Always make eye contact with the audience. Information retained when broken into bytes. No, you can't do that. I can read. Everybody of your audience knows how to read English. You have to remember that. Okay, you don't have to spoon feed me by reading. I have not come here to read your lines. I have come here to listen to you, what you put on your slides and how you give me the juice. So never ever read your slides. If any speaker is reading the slides, I just by definition know he does not know what he's talking about. You don't have to look at your sides if you are a master of your topic. Okay. Again, the one I put Steve Jobs on the right, you should remember that. It's a very good point from Steve Jobs. People who do know what they're talking about do not need a PowerPoint. Okay. Even if I shut down this PowerPoint, I can still talk to you what I want to convey, because you should know what you're talking about. You should prepare beforehand about that subject and be confident. Okay. And information, when you give somebody, if it is broken into pieces, they receive it better rather than throwing a chunk at them. Okay. And another thing is, do not ever complete your entire presentation in one tempo and pitch. That's what we do. Even I used to do that. Then I realized that it is absolutely wrong. You should vary your pitch, up, down, your voice. You should modulate. Imagine going to a movie. If the entire movie was somebody doing a dialogue in a monologue way, how are you? I am fine. How is your day? If you see a movie like that for 3 hours, would any audience go to that movie? No, because you want undulations in your pitch, tempo, and scale. So try to do that. And most important, even as a kids, we know that we learn by examples. So any point that you're trying to convey, just like I've given you example of a movie, you have to give examples of what you're trying to put. Examples stick in your mind, audience mind better than the actual thing. So if you want to drive home a point, give them a similar example and relate to it. Okay. And if somebody asks you a question or something, there is a lack in or a gap in your knowledge, admit it. So even though you are expected to prepare everything in that topic, nobody is expected to know 100% of the topic, and nobody can. So if you don't know something, tell them that's a good question. I don't know about it. Thank you for letting me know. We'll discuss this in the next presentation. I'll do some background work. And last thing is, always include some jokes. You wouldn't go to, as I said, you wouldn't go to a movie that is 100% action or 100% romance or something without comedy, right? Some amount of comedy is required, some amount of jokes are required, because you want to audience to be engaged. Okay. Mm. And jokes on yourself are usually good. Okay. Nobody gets upset when you make a joke about yourself. So try to keep it entertaining. The goal is to convey information, at the same time not letting your audience slip into coma. Okay. Again, this is the most famous statement that Einstein has given. If you can't explain any subject matter simply, it simply means that you do not understand it well enough. If I want to present about thyroid cancer, for example, as I said previously, and I cannot explain to you in a matter, that doesn't mean that my audience are stupid. It just means that I do not have the depth of knowledge to put it in a simple terms where my audience can understand. So a good teacher, even if you give me a 10th standard student, I should be able to explain to him what thyroid cancer is, what are the types, how do we treat it. If I'm not able to put, that means I don't have the depth. It is never the audience fault. Remember that. You can't blame the audience. Oh, these guys didn't understand my talk, even though it was good. No, it is your duty to make them understand. If I am bored at your talk, it is the mistake of only one person. It is you. If I fall asleep in your talk, it is your mistake, not anybody else. So remember that. If somebody is not liking my talk as of now, again, it's solely my mistake, nobody else. Okay. Again, how do we keep the audience interested? Audience interaction. So this is very key, especially it may not be a point that you do in your presentation for your medals or something, but this is when you are presenting in some forums, or whether you're presenting in public, sorry, whether you're presenting for some other audience who are interested to learn about the subject. Interaction with them is the key. Okay, you can have to ask them questions. You have to ask them, do you know anything, or ask them about their experience. Ask something. So asking a question just puts an alertness into your presentation. You can ask them, okay, if I'm presenting about thyroid cancer, I might ask a question. How many of you know a family member or a relative who was diagnosed with thyroid cancer? Can you raise your hands? So that's an example. So you ask them to keep them interested, not to learn from them or not to tell them what you want to know, but it's just to keep them engaged so that they know that their attention is given to them. Finally, ask your audience if they have any questions. Don't conclude a talk without asking if they have any questions. If you have no questions, that means there's only one thing. People did not understand anything from your topic. Okay. So I'll ask you whether you have questions later, and if nobody asks, that means I've done a poor job. Okay. Now, coming to specific of those are all general outlines. It need not be for medical. Now we will tell about medical things. How do we prepare a good medical presentation? So, as I said, you have to divide your 10 slides into one theme per slide and mark out what that theme is. First slide is about introduction. Second slide can be about, again, it need not be these fixed slides, but I'm telling you in general basic. Second topic can be basics of the topic, anatomy, physiology. Don't go into the depth unless it is an anatomical or physiological talk. Okay, if you're presenting about some disease, give the basic anatomy, 2 or 3 lines about physiology. Don't delve into anatomy and physiology to a point where it is boring and audience are switched off even before you enter your main topic. Okay, the details of your topic should contain most of your slides. They should contain around 6 to 7 slides, and they should explain everything in detail. References from previous study and the comparison of your data should be important, especially when you're presenting your new research work. Most of us are going to do some research or data presentation that has already been done. We are not the cutting edge scientists. Most of us are not that. We're presenting something out of the ordinary which has never been done. Most of the things would have been done. So it is that doesn't mean that our topic is bad or we shouldn't do it, but we should quote the previous studies, see what they have done, give a comparative analysis like they have found this, I have found this. That is very important when you're presenting your data in for papers which are competitive, like your medal papers, because those topics would have already been done. You should show them how good, how what your results are different, or how they reinforce the previous this thing. Keep the discussion simple is very important. Okay, you shouldn't drag your audience into a quagmire. Quagmire and ఊబిలోకి దింపకూడదు. Like you don't put them in something that they are not able to dig them out. So you shouldn't lead your ideas into no man's land. So keep your idea centered around your main topic and don't let your audience deviate from it. And finally, you should have take home message like, I have come here, I drank the juice. What should I take home? These 10 minutes of my life I have dedicated to you. So what will I get from that? It is like a return gift. Remember it, like a take home message is like a return gift. So when I am going home, I should have a return gift in my bag. Okay, when I go home, okay, I can open the gift and see, okay, it was worth attending this party because I got this. So if you don't have return gift, don't present anything, because uh, whatever I remember is after I go home, not while designing the talk. Okay. Again, last thing is, if you don't know what you want to achieve in your presentation, that is, if you don't know what you want to convey, what is the outline, what is the theme of your presentation, if you yourself do not know, then your audience also will not know. So when you start with introduction, explain the goals of the presentation. Like in my first slide, I told you what are the main outlines and goal. Explain the outline of the talk. Again, theme is important. By the end of the introduction, this is very important. If I have a topic, by the end of the introduction, the audience should be able to guess what my remaining slides are. They may not know exactly what the content is, but they know, okay, first this guy is going, for example, thyroid cancer. First, this guy is going to talk about the thyroid type of thyroid cancers. Then he's going to talk about this etiology. Then he's going to talk about the various surgical complications. So they should have an idea what is coming for based on your introduction slide. So they may not be able to guess exactly what is coming, but they should have a general idea. Okay. Again, pictures, flowcharts, and videos. These are very important. The more the pictures, the better the talk is. Flowcharts, using schematic diagrams to explain your point rather than speaking out loud for 10 minutes on one slide is very important. Flowcharts, everything should be soft, concise, and to the point. Okay. Videos of the procedure, this is very important. Video is worth 1,000 pictures. Okay. Again, the last one I showed you previously, never paste something from the textbook. If you paste a page out of a textbook, I would rather be at home reading that book. I don't need to attend your talk. You have to value your audience time. Okay. Your audience, most of the time, if you're presenting in some big conference, for example, if I'm presenting in a state conference, I should know that the value of my audience time. You have paid your conference registration fees. You are there spending one day of your curriculum there. Most of the practitioners leave their practice and come there for one day. So it's a loss of revenue for them. So their time is valuable. Okay, respect your audience time. Okay, so that is what I tell everybody. So your audience should learn something, and they should be should be worthwhile. again, concluding the data, review the benefits. Put your benefits on your presentation and out on a table. Like, what is the theme of your topic? What you have concluded? Put it in a table. Summarize the presentation. For example, your data shows this. Just put it in a table. I have found so and so complications, which for example, that's an example, so and so so complications, and the complications occur due to the results, and we can avoid this by doing this. Just a brief outlines. Offer a vision to the audience, like they should be able to visualize your idea. Okay, so what you have presented in the last 10 slides, the audience should get a visual picture of that. Any doubts in the audience mind should be quelled by the end of the presentation. Again, quote someone. For every presentation, end with an action call, like what do you want to do, or you ask a question, or tell the audience that a new study is coming up. Leave them something to look forward in at the end of the presentation. Again, you have to remember this. This is a very good thing. We remember 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see and so forth, but 95% of what we teach to others. So once you have made a good presentation, you will never forget the content of that presentation. So you will remember lifelong. Okay, I remember once I had given, I don't know, in the first presentation in my life I had given was about in gynecology department. Though I'm an ENT, I given that presentation in a gynecology department. It was about cervical encirclage and the McDonald's operation in children. I remember even today because I had prepared for that talk for 10 days, even at that time. So once you prepare any topic thoroughly and you know how to convey, you will remember it. You don't have to study that again later. Okay. You have to always remember less than 20% of the people will remember 20% of what you said after 20 minutes. Again, your presentation is judged by not by the knowledge. This is what I told you. Not by the knowledge you send, but by what the receiver receives. Okay. It is not how much you send, it is how much they receive. Okay. Again, last but not the least, most important thing is make sure that you have finished your presentation before your audience have stopped sleeping. Okay. So nobody complained. Have you ever gone to audience? I want to ask you a question now because I want to interact with you. PGs, have you ever gone to any presentation in your life where you have said that, damn God, shit, this presentation was too short. I wish it was a little bit longer. Have you ever gone to any presentation like that? Audience? No? So we don't, right? Nobody has complained that, but we have gone to hundreds and hundreds of presentation where we know we think, oh, God damn the speaker, let him stop. I want to get out of this room. So don't be that person. Stop before your audience going to sleep. Again, thank you. Any questions? I will take it. Um, any other suggestions you want? Please let me know, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, sir. So we are opening up to the postgraduates.
Yeah.
If you have any questions you want to discuss with sir, you can unmute one by one and start asking questions. Ramesh, sir.
Yeah, sir. Good evening, Sashikanth, sir.
Ramesh, how are you? Good, good. Nice to see
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I'm good, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for spending this time for our postgraduates, sir.
No problem. Only I was worried about my voice, having a lot of cold and cough.
Oh, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, every time we are using your experience for our conferences, sir.
My pleasure.
Without hesitating, you are accepting our invitation. Thank you so much once again. Sir, a lot of information, sir. Every time, అంటే మన స్టేట్ కాన్ఫరెన్స్ లో నేను అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తున్నది ఏంటంటే సార్,
Uh,
ఇక్కడ కూడా ఇలా వేరే స్టేట్ లో చేస్తున్నారో లేదో తెలియదు. బిఫోర్
uh,
ప్రజెంటింగ్ వీఆర్ గివింగ్ సమ్ లెక్చర్స్ అండ్ రిహార్సల్స్ ఫర్ ద పోస్ట్ గ్రాడ్యుయేట్.
no, no, no,
వర్చువల్ గా
no.
కూడా చేస్తుంది కూడా మన దగ్గరే సార్.
Yeah, yeah. But I only wish that when we were doing PG, we had people like you, Sriharsha, who are so hardworking and to teach the PGs. I think PGs are fortunate to have guys like you who take so much interest in teaching, making sure that they learn. So a presentation like the one I have did was unconceivable. No, nobody was like. First of all, nobody was giving us the input on the subject matter, and forget about how to present. We didn't even have. We were like vagabonds. Like we didn't know what to present. We didn't know anything. But the fact that you identified it and you want to give that, even that information to your postgraduates is commendable. I think all the postgraduates should thank you and Sriharsha for putting all the efforts.
No, sir. Without teachers like you, we can't do like this, sir. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.
I wish all the postgraduates all the very best. Do very well in the presentation. Uh,
Nobody has
if
any
any
questions?
queries, you can ask now itself.
Dr. Ramani has posted in the chat section, sir.
Yeah.
While presenting a rare case, is it compulsory that we cite a previous article?
Rare case, if it is so rare that you don't have any previous citations, then you don't require. Usually it is rare, means that there are some articles. If it is a unique case that you are the first one to present it, obviously you can't put data, but there will be some relevant data, even if not. For example, yeah, I presented a rare case of myofibroblastic sarcoma of maxillae in one of the international conferences. See, even if it is myofibroblastic sarcoma of the maxilla and mandible are rare, I can quote some data from myofibroblastic sarcomas of head and neck region, somewhere in other regions in the head and neck region, and from there drive the point to my part, which is maxilla and mandible. There will be some amount of cross pollination. So you can get some previous data from anything related to similar. If you say that my case is absolutely unique, I am the first person to ever see anything remotely close to this, then obviously you don't. If you have got such a presentation, congratulations to you. But usually you will have something to correlate to previous studies.
Any more questions from the postgraduates? Please, we have 5 more minutes. So I think that's all, sir, we have.
Thank you, Ramesh, and wish you all, everybody
you,
good
sir.
luck.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
thank you,
sir.
Ramesh.
Take care, sir.
Thank you, Sirius. Thank you.
All the best, all the postgraduates. Be prepared well. Any doubt?